Yo, my fantasy football friends, welcome to the Multiple First Dynasty Football channel here on YouTube. We are bringing you our weekly show entering week 3 of the NFL season. That's right, 2 weeks are behind us, week 3 is upon us. We're like 15% of the way through the regular season or something like that with 2 weeks down. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about some fantasy football today. We're going to be looking at Dynasty Superflex fantasy football. We're going to be talking about some of our movement and we made in some of our leagues, and we're breaking down the games and how they affect you and your start sit decisions for all of our lovely games coming up for week 3 here. Yeah, thank you for coming in. We're recording this on Friday night, September 22nd. Thursday night football was last night. As always, I'm joined by my partner Greg the Velociraptor. How you doing, bro?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I went 21-6 last week. It was a pretty good week.
That's awesome. I've been floating on 500. Yeah.
No, I was salty last week, and it would have been better. It would have been better if Nick Chubb hadn't torn his knee. I was cruising towards something like 23-4. You know, like a really sick. The best week I've ever had.
Yeah, so, that sounds like it, man. Congratulations. That's really impressive.
Really fun. But yeah, you know what? Look, early season wins are just one win, and we've all won titles from 1 and 3 starts and stuff. So let's keep grinding.
Yeah, you got to keep grinding. You got to keep staying plugged in, keep working at it. You got to be making trades and grinding that waiver wire, even in your dynasty leagues, grinding the waiver wire. But yeah, last night was pretty interesting. We had Thursday night football, the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Giants. Sorry, I couldn't think of that. But yeah, McCaffrey killed it. Debo killed it. Kittle was great. They didn't need Ayuk at all. Sorry if you left him in your lineup, if you were too busy to take him out because it was a pretty late out.
Oh, I was so close.
Yeah.
I was so close to getting banged up with that.
We have him in our 24/7 show league, and I took him out of our lineup with like 30 minutes to go before kickoff, so it was close.
I checked that league with 3 minutes to kickoff.
There you go.
That's how late I was.
Yeah.
I saw it at like literally 9 minutes before rosters locked, right? And so I had 6 spots, and I was just flying through.
Did we learn anything from last night, though? What are our takeaways from Thursday night's game there?
CMC is ridiculous. I think he is the special running back.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how much he's worth, but I feel like he's been a little bit disappointing, and he's absolutely smashing.
Yeah, he's just tremendous. This pace he's on. I mean, he's just that league winner, that Christian McCaffrey from 2017, 2018, that vintage, and it's just right back in your face again. With all this, fantasy running backs dropping like flies league wide, we're just hoping and praying that McCaffrey stays up because we saw Elijah Mitchell get more run last night, coming off of the week 2 game where McCaffrey had 100% snap share. He definitely got Mitchell more involved, and he did almost nothing with it. So we're not super excited even if he gets in there.
I mean, I actually thought Mitchell looked pretty good. Yeah. I think Mitchell. We may disagree on that one. I would be very excited about Elijah Mitchell as a handcuff should something happen. I mean, 11 for 42.
Yeah, he caught some passes.
That was the other piece. Is like he had 3 targets. And he had some grinded out inefficient work late, but he had some explosion plays. I think Elijah Mitchell would be a very good player if CMC were to go down.
If he were to go down, yeah, I mean, it'd be back to what we saw from Mitchell's rookie year. I guess what I was trying to say was like they're not going to give him the ball for like productivity purposes. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to eat any McCaffrey share away at all. Like none.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, be just the biggest McCaffrey in your face. But I don't know. My biggest takeaway was just Brock Purdy looked tremendous. I mean, the guy, like, where did this dude come from? He's insane. And the last pick of the draft, I love it.
It's such a good spot, though. Like, it really is such a good spot for people. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo looked better there than he has anywhere else. Like, so I do think it's a little hard to tease apart, but they're going to stick with him for the rest of his contract, aren't they?
At least this year. I mean, right? I mean, I don't think Kyle Shanahan would be hesitant at all to pull the rug if he needed to. I'd be really interested to see, like, what are he's only making like $900,000 or something like that. They were talking about. Like,
Hmm.
would they throw more money at him mid-season? Is that
They
weird
are
to
not
think?
allowed to do
They're
that.
not allowed to do that. Okay,
They're not allowed
I
to,
didn't know
right?
that.
Because
All right.
teams would try to get around like the rookie salary cap with
Yeah, that makes sense.
101 picks and things. No, no, no.
Sure.
That it is too early in his rookie deal. I don't remember if they have to if they can renegotiate the third year. I don't think they can. I think they can renegotiate before the fourth year.
This offseason, they have to. There's got to be
Oh no,
something they
that's
can do
why
with him.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
No, no, no. That's why Jonathan Taylor came to a head this offseason is because you have to play 3 seasons before
Okay.
they can void the rookie deal.
That's
He
wild
has to
then.
play
Yeah.
on his rookie deal next year.
Because you might have a Pro Bowl, like 14 win, maybe Super Bowl champion quarterback that's like not even making $1 million next season entering the year as a starter for the Niners. I mean, that may happen. It's actually a pretty high probability that at least most of that occurs. So it's really crazy. I mean, Pro Bowl, I mean, it doesn't mean that much, but like in the NFC, especially, like Purdy's like a top 3 quarterback in the NFC right now.
He's never lost a game he finished.
Love it. Yeah.
But I also don't think his eye test is as good as everything we just said. Like,
Yeah.
it's not bad. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
His eye test is absolutely fine. But he doesn't have a zippy arm. He like misses some throws in the flats. His receivers like he doesn't hit the receiver in stride, but his receivers are so good that they will make a play.
Mm-hmm.
I think he reads right. I think he makes good reads. I don't think he is a great thrower. Like
he seems to make good decisions. Like,
yes,
even when he has to like make a decision, not some
exactly
pre-scripted thing. So you like to see that. But yeah, so we're gonna keep moving on here. I want to talk about our last week of buy and sell. Last week we did some buys, some sells, and we're gonna talk about where we were right and where we were wrong. We try to stay accountable. Last week my big purchase to go out and buy was Mike Evans. If you could make a trade for him, Mike Evans before the games, that was probably gonna work out for you, and it did. He's jumped up from wide receiver 38 on Keep Trade Cut up to 35. I expect that trend to continue. And my sell last week was Miles Sanders, and another not super productive day, and just the poor performance by the Panthers overall has pushed him down again as Chuba Hubbard continues to work into his workload. So I was right. Good for me. What do you have?
and those were good calls. Mike Evans is at his highest value since last November right now, and I think. I think we should circle back to these in 6 or 8 weeks, but these are all looking good for now. My buy high last week was Nico Collins. He was up from wide receiver 54 to 44 last week. He's now up to wide receiver 28, and he's a 6-7 turn startup value right now. He is one of the biggest movers over the last 6 months total. Look, I just think he has all of the look of a big play receiver, and CJ Stroud has looked the part, and the volume is huge, and it should stay huge. So I'm willing to cash out some shares because I've purchased a bunch, right, at those 44 to 54 prices. So if I moved a third of what I've got at this price, then if it goes down a little, you'll have cashed in some. And if
just hedging, I recommend to do that, to trade some of those away. And
and
sell
if
a little
it keeps
bit.
going up, then having sold a third of it now and made a big profit, and you get 2/3 of it goes up, that's just all more good news. So
Love it.
I think that was good. And Justin Fields, I had him as my sell low. He was at quarterback 10 and overall player 25. So the 2-3 turn, and that was down 2 quarterback spots and 12 overall spots. Well, this week he's at quarterback 12 and overall 38. So down another 2 quarterback spots and 13 overall spots. He's now into the early 4th round of startup drafts.
Yeah.
From the 108 a month and a half ago. And look,
trending downward. Yeah.
I really don't think that his chances of hitting or missing have gotten that much worse. I think they've gotten worse, for sure. I don't think they've gotten that much worse.
The
But
reality of Justin Fields hasn't changed that much in the last 3
that
weeks.
much,
The
right?
real reality, like within the NFL, the media might make it feel different, or like your fantasy perspective may feel different, but like the real life of Fields is pretty much what it has been, which is what we're seeing and what we're hearing. But yeah, go on.
Right, but I think your opportunity to continue waiting and seeing what you have without your value going away is pretty much gone, right?
Yeah,
Like he's never, like, whatever he's worth now, he's never going to be worth that much again unless he plays well, at which point you're going to stop wanting to trade him,
you just want to hold
right?
him. Yeah,
Right. So, like, this is your get out time, even still now, I think. Uh, Man, if you have him now, you really wish you probably don't want to trade him for fourth round startup value, but you probably wish you had traded him for second round startup value a week ago, really badly.
yeah.
That is what I think.
Yeah, I want to touch on Nico Collins, who you were talking about. Like, first of all, great pick. I mean, great call last week, and someone we've been talking about, since we started the show. He's always been a player I've liked. I have a lot of shares, just stuffed away in taxis. The narrative on this guy always was, pardon me, can he, he could be someone should they land on a big time quarterback who could really produce, and that actually seems to have happened. So I like this trend to continue for Nico. If I was overly exposed to him, I would look to sell a few. I only have like 24 or 5 shares across 20 whatever leagues, but interesting player, good call, and I like to see a third year receiver breakout happen. I mean, this guy was nothing for the first 2 seasons. I mean, people were cutting him, and we like to see a third year breakout that can still happen. It gives you faith for other players that you might be waiting on right now.
Absolutely. I think 4 is a bit much to ask, but
Yeah.
3 certainly happens. And, it makes me feel good because I have a decent amount of exposure to Nico Collins, and a fair amount of it was at the expense of Amon-Ra St. Brown. So it would feel nice to get
vindicated.
Not that, but a pretty
Yeah.
good asset out of it.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get right to it then. Buy high, sell low. Don't cheat. Tony, go.
Don't cheat. All right, so who am I buying? Who am I selling right now? So buy high is we're going to buy someone who's high on value, someone who's up there. There's a lot of players right now who are trending up and people are in love with. There's some low-hanging fruit with the triple Ps, guys like George Pickens, Puka Nacua, and Brock Purdy, who we talked about. I mean, guys who are just going up and they're going to keep going up, and that's fine. But I want to give you some real actionable content, which is to go get a veteran type player, someone who's been in the league for a few years, who is rising and should continue to rise. And I'm going to take someone who I love. It's Baker Mayfield, number 6 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, starting quarterback. Right now, Baker is being valued as the quarterback 29 on Keep Trade Cut. 29.
Oh, yes.
That is up from 33 where he opened the season at. He's currently the quarterback 15 on the season in terms of points scored. This guy should continue to roll. We really like this a lot. I'm going to keep riding that Buccaneers wave from Mike Evans, but Philly matchup this week. Philly has one of the worst pass defenses in the league. At New Orleans is rough. A bye is rough, and that might be a window to buy Baker is somewhere in here where he's going to have like some downtime, but the season progression after that, after the bye, really convenient for Mayfield. If I need a QB2, if I'm a Rodgers owner struggling, or I was riding Richardson or whatever, I mean, who knows what's up with him. But I like Baker.
Or if you need a QB3, maybe you
QB3.
like your
you
like your 1-2, but you don't have a 3.
Yep. I will feel confident starting him in most matchups moving forward, and I do expect him to finish inside the top 20 at quarterback. The ceiling's limited. If he really strikes fire and starts to be like, wow, Baker's sweet, I could start. If someone were to offer me a first for him, I'd probably sell. But yeah, I like Baker Mayfield as a buy high, a trending upward player moving forward.
Okay, I love that pick, Tony.
Thank you.
I really do. I like. I think the asymmetric benefit, the asymmetric upside here, of like, what if he just keeps that job for a long time and he's tied to Evans and Godwin for the next 4 years?
Totally could.
And he rediscovers his 101 stuff, right? Like, it could. It's there, right? It's a dart I want to have some shares of, right? It's a dart throw I want to have some shares of, and yeah, it's a garbage division and they're 2-0, so they're playing their way out of having the shot at the rookie quarterbacks
Yeah.
very early in the
Yep.
year. I think that's worth, like, they could easily get to 9-7 and
Yeah.
win the division, you know, like, because it's not a good division. So I love it.
It's all the reasons I liked Ritter without the rushing, but it's like it's transferred over to Baker now. Like Baker was
Yep.
actually the guy we should have been
Yes.
in on. So,
Yes.
who are you buying,
Yes,
bro?
yes. I'm buying Michael Pittman, man.
Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, he is currently valued at the wide receiver 26 on Keep Trade Cut. That is up from wide receiver 34 on the Saturday before week 1. That was a 24-month low for him.
He really cratered.
He
did.
Yeah. From an all-time high of wide receiver 7 a year ago yesterday.
The volatility is absurd.
Yeah. Right. So 2 years ago he was below wide receiver 34. 1 year ago he was up at wide receiver 7. And 2 weeks ago he was at wide receiver 34 again. And now he's at 26. I think you look at this offense, I've always believed in the talent here. Now I believe in the scheme. I believe in the coaching. I believe in the quarterback. And you're paying wide receiver 3 prices for a young asset who is very likely to get that second contract with the same team and have 4 or 5 more years in here. I feel like this is an asset you could buy for wide receiver 26 prices, put in your lineup for 3 years, and then sell for wide receiver 26 prices.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yep.
Right, and you get all those starts for free.
Value hold, reserve value. I love it, and just quality starter. Super interesting player, Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, I got to say, I was part of the cratering. I was really hard out on him moving into an Anthony Richardson-led offense, and probably was too low because he does hit as a nice value, and he's got the pedigree, and he's an alpha receiver in the NFL, so he could definitely grow back up from this 26 spot and give you some quality fantasy starts moving forward. I love that pick.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to do some sells. We're going to kick some guys while they're down. That's what it always feels like. We're going to pile on. And the low-hanging fruit here for sell low is Kyle Pitts, but you guys have been hearing about that all week. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to give you a different tight end to sell, and his name is Dallas Goedert. This is a guy I've liked for a lot of years. I really like Goedert. I think I've featured him as a sell low on different videos over the last year, but right now Goddard's a pretty decent sell. There's a lot of young tight ends with like the Laportas, the Kincaids, where you could potentially swap Goddard for one of these other guys, and just reset your value. You reset your clock from this 28-year-old tight end. He bricked in week 1. The Eagles still won the game. He had 7 targets, caught 6 passes, only got 22 yards in week 2. Eagles still won the game. He's not a pivotal part of this offense. He's not. He will produce and be a decent production for fantasy, but I think you take Goddard and either move to a young guy or you pair Goddard up with something and move up because you may be able to get away with that. I don't think Goddard's going to 0 anytime soon, but he just doesn't offer the same upside I think he did in years past. He may have 1 or 2 explosive games, but I'm concerned for Dallas Goedert, and I'm concerned for his longevity in Dynasty. I think this team's going to add tight ends in the draft moving forward. He's only got guaranteed money through the 24 season, so easily could see them moving on from Dallas Goedert. There's concerns here for what formerly was an elite tight end. I think is falling from grace.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. I wonder where are we at with the Keep Trade Cut overall value on Dallas Goedert?
Yeah. Sorry. He's a sell low because he was tight end 6, and he's tight end 8. That's what he's trading at.
I wonder. I wonder if he has fallen more than even I'd be comfortable with. Like if I would want to just let it ride out for years and years on my roster at the sell price. What can we get for him right now?
What can we get for? I think like I said, I think you're better off climbing the ladder rather than going down. But like if I could send, I'd want to go get Laporta, but as a Laporta manager, I wouldn't trade him for Goddard. Mayer is someone who hasn't popped, and maybe you get that plus like another starting asset. That's way too much of a tier down. I don't know. Muth. Would I trade Goddard straight across for Freiermuth?
Freiermuth's been terrible.
He's been terrible. Yeah, that's why it's like, I wouldn't do it.
So Goddard is like a 9th, 10th round startup pick right now. He's down off of his highs. But that's in a non-tight end premium. Yeah, no, in a tight end premium, he probably still holds enough value that I think you could get enough out of him, I like it then. I'm looking at the value. I think you still have a window to sell him before the value comes out, and you probably could go down to a young tight end plus. Could you get Musgrave?
You probably could. I mean, I don't know. Every time I've tried to acquire Musgrave, his owner's just totally in love with him, so it's a struggle. A trade that I pitch a lot is double twos, second round pick in the next two drafts, the 24 and 25 is what it would be now. I'd probably take that for Goddard in most places where I own him.
Would you take something like Dulcich and a 2?
Dulcich I've cooled so hard on. I don't want anything to do with Dulcich, but I'd consider that because I'm getting younger and I get the pick. Yeah, I would.
That kind of thing, yeah.
If I have a tight end that I could start otherwise, then yeah, I'd be fine doing something like that.
Chig in a 2?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
I'm down on Chig too. But
Well, yeah, but that's why you get the thing. Everybody's down.
Njoku in a second. That'd be like sweet. Evan Ingram. Okay. If I could pivot into like Evan Ingram in a pick,
you could do that. You could do that. That's a great move. If you're interested in that, you could do that.
Yeah, Ingram's running like the second most routes in the Jaguars. I expect him to explode moving forward. It's anti-Goddard.
Okay. So my sell low is Dameon Pierce, who is running back 22, down from running back 15 before week 1. And so the thing for me that makes Dameon Pierce a sell low is that I think people perceive him as a longer-term asset because he's a second-year player. But I actually think he's a short-term asset because he's a low draft capital player on a franchise that has changed regimes, right? So if he's a short-term asset and the team can't run block this year and the team is better passing than expected and it's throwing some of the most passes in the league and he's not at all involved in the passing game right now, then like he's going to disappoint everybody this year. Mm-hmm. He's going to disappoint everybody this year, and he is going to get competition. Like you're going to be in that same. Is he going to get competition situation all off season? And the answer is he probably won't dodge it twice in a row. Like that's my thought. So running back 22, there are lots of other guys who are going to be volume plays who aren't involved in the passing game, who. Like you could get to them and a plus. Like you get I'd rather go get Mostert and a plus.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I like that trade a lot.
Is how I'm thinking about it. But, because he's a fake long-term asset.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good player. I just think that's where we're at with him.
No, that's fair. I think I'm a little more bullish on Pierce, especially from this like RB20 territory. I mean, as Stroud takes steps forward, we have to think that that's going to bleed through the offense, and Stroud has been pretty good. I think his arrow is trending upward. But I totally wholeheartedly agree with you. He probably scrapes through the season, and he's going to have better games moving forward this year, at least I think. But like the offseason, he's just going to get competition and then more of it, be it in the draft, free agency, or both. It's going to get rough for Pierce, I don't know if he has the talent to really set himself apart that way. So,
no, especially like they're not going to be picking, like they're probably going to add a day 2 kind of guy.
Oh yeah, totally.
And then what do you have after that? I think about the running back overall rankings and some guys who are below him. Let's look here and keep trade cut running back rankings. He is running back 22. So, guys who are below him include, Zach Charbonnet, Najee Harris. I don't love Najee Harris, but, I could get Najee Harris and something. I could get Isaiah Pacheco is 8 spots lower than him. I can get Isaiah Pacheco and a pick. I can get James Conner is 12 spots below him. I can get James Conner. James Conner's going to score more points than he does this year. Mm-hmm. And I can get a second for third swap on top of it.
Yep.
Come on.
Would you trade him straight across for Rachaad White if you could?
Easily, I would trade him across for Rachaad. Rachaad White's actually trading a spot or 2 ahead of him. Easily, I would take that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, those are a bunch of shorter term. And again, Raheem Mostert at running back 40. Right, it just jumps out as a guy. Alexander Madison even trading at running back 42 after the trade. I could get Alexander Madison and a second and a third probably, or something like that for Pierce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I don't know how much more I'm getting from Pierce than those guys this year. That's my fear.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, as buys and sells. There you go. Keep an eye out. We're gonna move on to yeah. We said we were gonna talk about some trades today. We have some dynasty trades happening. I made a trade this week. Greg made a trade, and I've been getting my inbox just hit by a lot of you know not acceptable offers. Stuff I wouldn't just slam accept on. I've had a lot of those. So we're gonna talk about some of that stuff right there. But trade I made in a quarterback needy league. If I can bring it up here. Here we go. I acquired Matt Stafford. I traded Rashee Rice in my 24 second. I bring in Matt Stafford, Raheem Mostert, and Khalil Herbert. I really like this for myself because I'm in a win now mode on that team, and it's a pretty cheap way to get some quality starters. And I feature this trade just to mention that Stafford's looked tremendous. I don't know if it's Puka or what, but Stafford's been playing like an MVP candidate through a couple games. So he's a great buy low veteran option right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is an outstanding buy low veteran option, and I think you did. I think that's the key piece of this. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, I don't think I think Rashee Rice and a second are both worth more than Herbert or Edwards.
This is the
Obviously,
league. It's a start
but
5,
like,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You start 12, including the
yeah,
quarterbacks. Super deep. And I needed Stafford.
no, Stafford is a great buy.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful buy on Stafford. I was able to send Miles Sanders away for a second and third round pick in 2024. That's a league where I have Brees Hall, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs at the top of my running back room.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a lot for Miles Sanders, considering, like, again, we had him as a sell low of the week.
I love that for you. Yeah, that's a great buy, and that's something that's good. Fodder for like other. If you're listening and you have Sanders, maybe fire that out to like most of the teams in your league.
I actually made this deal on Monday night before the games. Sanders was a Monday night play, and the guy had an injury and had gotten desperate.
Yeah, you really leveraged him.
Yeah. So I was able to leverage him just a little bit. That's just a thought. If you see somebody in that position, I probably leveraged the third out of that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
that's probably over market. That's probably the over market.
That's good though. That's a good pick. Thirds always look so stupid in trades now, but like on draft day, I love having third round picks. So yeah.
Yeah, and I ended up having the key thing there. I had Michael Thomas to fill in because I also had to fill that spot. You know what I mean? So I had another Monday night player that was able to make me make that deal. I just think that's a very smart avenue to look at. If you see an injury, like a late injury on a Monday daytime, check to see if that guy's manager has a roster problem for that night. Just have a look.
Oh yeah, I've made a lot of trades doing that, last minute stuff like that. Especially around the trade deadline, it gets even more weird. Because the playoff seeding starts to happen and stuff. But yeah. You get any bad offers? What have you turned down recently?
I turned down Barkley and a contending first for CMC. I think that's a pretty easy turn down. But I just think that is worth noticing because a shrewd owner came to me with Barkley and a big plus to get to CMC because CMC is separating himself at a value level, and tearing down from CMC is something that should be very expensive. And I want our listeners to recognize that, like, a shrewd owner may come looking to give you an offer that looks really good for a running back whose value is going to crater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think that's an obvious move. What about yourself?
Yeah, I like that trade a lot for you, or that non-trade, excuse me, of not selling McCaffrey for that. A previous version of myself probably would have hit accept just because there's a first in there and an air quotes comparable running back, but I don't think they're comparable at all, and that's the point you were trying to make.
Yes.
There's a more than a first round pick's worth of difference in value between them.
For sure.
And I agree with you. I love that. I declined. What did I decline? I got to trade. Oh yeah, someone sent me Kyler Murray for C.J. Stroud straight up. This is a league where I have C.J. Stroud in my taxi. I don't need a quarterback in any way,
Mm.
and he just offered me Kyler, and I declined it, and I'm sure he was disappointed. I don't say that to rub it in his face, but like Stroud's been climbing, and I definitely have him above Kyler.
Yeah.
I think Kyler managers may be panicking, looking to get out from him because even when he comes back, the offense just looks so terrible.
I don't know, man.
The
I
team's
don't know what to
bad.
think. Right?
Yeah.
Like the Caleb Williams vibes are very interesting.
Mm.
At the same time, I think if we believe in Stroud and Kyler Murray comes back, I think there's like also a pretty good chance that Arizona doesn't end up in the number one in the 101. I think people are maybe overvaluing the odds that Arizona ends up in the 101 spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because
there's other bad teams.
there's other bad teams.
The Bears are still really bad. They could get the 101 pick again. Remember,
odds.
they actually had it. They just traded it away. Remember, so they could land there again.
Don't they? Do they have the Panthers pick too? Panthers could end up there too.
Yeah. Do they have the Panthers pick? I don't know. They might.
They probably do. Isn't that what they got for trading out of 101 was DJ Moore and next year's first round pick? DJ Moore 109 and next year's first round pick or something like that?
I'd have to look at that. I'm looking it up now. You have me intrigued.
Yeah, Panthers look pretty bad, right? So there's the Bears, so there are teams that.
Yeah, they do have 2 picks. Yeah, they're projected 2 top 5. Yeah, they have the Panthers first next year.
Whew. Right. So right. So, by the way, there's another Justin Fields could be okay, and they could still end up with the 101.
And the Browns could be terrible also. The Cardinals have their own and the Browns. So you could have 2 teams each making double picks inside the top 10 next year. I mean, very easily that's likely going to happen.
Cardinals have Houston's.
That's what it is. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Then you're probably gonna have 2 teams.
Houston has the Browns.
Yeah. Sorry, I was turned around. Yeah.
Houston kept the Browns from the Watson trade, but sent their own pick over to the Cardinals in the Will Anderson move. Anyway, so yeah, there you go. I think Kyler has a better chance though of getting out of that 101 spot than we think. I don't know. I think Kyler as the starter in Arizona long term is still probably pretty likely, and he's pretty fantasy.
With the contract probably. Yeah, I'm worried about Kyler. All right, so we're halfway through it. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Let us know what you think of our trades. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe. Love chatting it up with the fans. So just say anything, and we just appreciate you spending your time with us. We're gonna break it down on a game by game basis for week 3. I'm just gonna talk about the fantasy options and who we like and don't like, and maybe help you pick your starters moving forward. Because that's such a challenge, especially when you're in a lot of leagues and you're deep. It's hard to just keep making those decisions. So we're here to help you out with that. First game up here, we got the AFC matchup: Indianapolis Colts at the Baltimore Ravens. Anthony Richardson was ruled out of the game earlier. Gardner Minshew is going to be starting. Shout out to our waiver wire pickup last week, Gardner Minshew. We like that, but easy starts here. Lamar's an easy start. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, the aforementioned Michael Pittman, Zach Moss. I think you're playing all those guys without question. The guys you're making decisions on are dudes like Rashad Bateman, Josh Downs.
So with Bateman, let's stop down here. OBJ has been ruled out.
Yep.
I think that makes Bateman a very viable dart throw here. This without J.K. Dobbins, this is a passing offense. Todd Monken, right? This is a passing offense. Bateman's going to be now on the field all the snaps, and he's a big play. He's a guy who could make his week with
explosive
one play.
Guy. Oh yeah.
First round. I think the thing that had been worrisome about Bateman is that he was beaten out by a rookie and a seemingly washed up old OBJ and was only playing 30% of the snaps. But if he's going to be playing all the snaps, I think he's a pretty viable play this week.
It's scary to play these guys that have done so little, and we're going to be talking about a few of them as we go through all the games. But Bateman is one of them. I would be willing to play Bateman here. The other guy I mentioned is Josh Downs. He's starting to kind of creep into the fantasy radar a little bit with his 7 targets and 5 targets. I mean, is this a viable play?
I think it's a little
Wide
bit
receiver
early.
four, probably too early.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I really think the OBJ out thing is what puts those two guys on different tiers here
Yeah,
for
you're
me.
right.
What do you think about the Baltimore backfield, Hill and Edwards? Justice
I'm
Hill?
not excited about either of them. I wouldn't play either of them. I'm not super excited about anyone in this game. I think this is going to be under on the 44-point over under. You're going to have a wind alert for bad weather. You're going to have some rain. This is not an exciting game for fantasy. I start my must start players, and I'm trying to lean out where I can here.
How do you
Interesting.
feel
Yeah,
about Gardner Minshew
I
in
would
your
play
two
him in Superflex
quarterback
if I had to.
leagues?
I mean, if I'm a Richardson owner who had Minshew as my handcuff, and I am that way in a couple leagues, yeah, I would play Minshew. But that's if I had a real starter ahead of that, I probably would play the other guy. Minshew runs, so he's got some upside there.
What do you think about him against some of like the Sam Howell, Desmond Ritter, like that whole group of quarterback twos?
The
Some of
matchup's
the
tough here against Baltimore in Baltimore. So I
okay,
mean, I think if we were at home against like a Houston or something, yeah, I would be Minshew probably a top 18 type play. But in this situation, I'm concerned for Minshew. I only start him if I
okay.
have to.
Okay, so if you're so look to your quarterback three instead of Minshew if you're losing Richardson, perhaps. Then
Yeah.
okay,
And then quick note, Kylan Granson is a top 10 tight end on the season. He's currently the tight end 9. And if he's been your starter, keep riding that because he's doing it. So, and it's tight end.
yeah, I'm still waiting for Jelani Woods to come back. I think that's still going to end up
I
being
hope
the
so too,
answer.
man. I've had to cut a couple Jelani Wood shares before he got hurt. I did, and it's gross.
Um,
Next
yeah,
game
all
up.
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's the Cleveland Browns game. All right, yeah, we got the Tennessee Titans are coming to Cleveland, coming into my backyard here in Northeast Ohio. They're going to take on the Cleveland Browns. The over/under on this game is 39.5 points. Blech.
Second lowest of the week.
Terrible. Yeah, so you don't want to play anyone in this game for the most part. There's very few players who I'm interested in here on either side. The Titans have one of the worst pass defenses in the game, so
Yes.
I like Amari Cooper. I would QB2 Deshaun Watson if I had to. Njoku is a above average dart throw at tight end. I'm not super excited for Jerome Ford. I have Jerome Ford
No.
outside the top 30. He's probably a low end flex 2 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can play Elijah Moore here. It's a bad pass defense that begs for volume.
The weather's gonna be bad too. It's 15-mile-an-hour winds with rain, so that's
God.
my further concern and why I think the only like it's Njoku, Cooper, and probably no one from Tennessee other than Henry. No pass catchers from Tennessee. Like that's all I would really worry
Yeah.
about here.
I don't want to play Hopkins. I don't want to play Burks. I don't want to play Tannehill. I do want to play Henry. I do think I actually think
Yeah.
Browns defense is very, very good. But like this is the kind of game where they might give Henry 28 carries
Mm-hmm. Oh,
in
totally.
bad weather. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you just give it to him. Especially if Tannehill's getting beat up. I mean, he's got aggressive pass rush. The Browns defense is awesome. I hear you on Elijah Moore though. Like, I do own him in a few spots. I'm not going to play him, but like, if you were to roll him out there as your wide receiver 3 or one of your flexes, like, I think that's a defensible position. But this game's going to be crummy, and I'm looking at the under on 40 points even.
Okay. All right. Next up, Falcons at Lions.
Yeah.
We have an over/under of 46. We have a Lions team that has a huge predictable home road split, and they're at home. Start your Bijan, your Gibbs, your Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta in most circumstances.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's 50-50 in your non-tight end premium one tight end leagues. And start Goff in any 2 quarterback type situations easily, I think, comfortably. I'm okay with Drake London here. I'm pretty okay with Josh Reynolds here. Algier and Pitts if you must. I think there's a chance this is a Pitts squeaky wheel game. If you're in a tight end premium, those things can matter. I think there are worse ideas. Algier, again, if you must, it's low in flex. like in that Jerome Ford territory.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with Ritter. I would play Gardner Minshew here over Ritter. I don't want anything to do with Ritter.
I can't hate that. I would probably play Ritter. I like this game as a big explosive game to be very high scoring and to hit the over on 46 points because I think both these defenses can be had and there's enough talented skill position players. Ritter is the thorn in all of that though. So
Yeah.
I do get it. But
No, I like the under here. I like the under because
Sure.
it's not close. I
Mhm.
like the under because the line it's 30-10.
Detroit should destroy. Oh, yeah, that's fair.
That is my fear.
Yeah.
Is that's how this goes.
I hope to see more of a boat race here. That's what I'm personally expecting. If you do think it's that lopsided, then Algier is probably not playable in any way. But I don't know. It's interesting because Arthur Smith and the Falcons, they know what they're up against, and they're going to want to just run the ball. Like
they might just run the ball 45 times anyway.
Like literally, like one of those like Ritter has like 5 attempts at the end of the first half. Like so, Algier's interesting in that scenario against the Detroit defense that can be run on. So.
Exactly. And again, if you've lost guys and you lost all your fab bids and you're like, you're staring at that like running back 2 spot, and I have a spot where I'm like Jerick McKinnon. You know what I mean? Like I don't. Craig Reynolds is interesting. Like we don't know what the Lions are going to do, but
McKinnon
one thing
Algier,
they might
do.
do. Algier.
Yep, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if Pacheco plays, which is trending that way, but it's not for sure.
Yeah.
But like, I do think there's a chance that Craig Reynolds gets all the goal line work like David Montgomery would have gotten.
Yeah, he just steps right into that role.
I think there's a possibility, and he could be free if you are real desperate. That's like my favorite under 5% owned kind of name of the week.
Sunday
if you're
morning,
real desperate.
FA ad.
Yes, exactly. I always like to go into the weekend having a name or two like that in mind. That's my name this week.
All right, keep punching. We got New Orleans Saints at the Green Bay Packers. We got a 42.5 point over/under in Lambeau Field here. So we're a little concerned for Packers in this game. Packers pass catchers, we still don't really have clarity if Christian Watson's going to play. That's the big one to talk about off the rip is Christian Watson.
And Aaron Jones.
Yeah. I expect Jones to play because I think Aaron Jones practiced, right? Didn't he practice, or maybe he didn't?
No, I don't recall.
I thought he practiced on Friday.
I recall Watson trending better than Jones. But I don't love either of them. I might have to take a shot on Watson. I don't totally know. I don't want to play Dylan. I don't really want to play any of these guys.
I don't. Yeah.
If I don't have to, the only Packer I really am okay playing is probably Musgrave.
Sure.
I kind of want to avoid Jordan Love overall this week if I can. So I just generally very concerned.
This is going to be a crummy weather game. You're going to have high wind and rain again. Jones practiced and limited on Thursday. That's why I expect him to play. And another reason why I want to get away from A.J. Dillon. I have a heavy exposure to Christian Watson. I'm leaning out as much as I can. I mean, I'm maybe only starting 1 or 2 of like 8 shares. So I'm not feeling Watson. I'm willing to be wrong on Watson. Dubs, I'm still going to fire up.
Okay.
For the most part, I mean, I have him as a depth piece in most places, but I think Dubs is interesting. This game could sneaky maybe be high scoring. I don't know.
Maybe
See,
not. I think this is going to be.
I have the under. So.
I actually have to say I think Jaden Reed is a better play than Dubs.
Really?
Yeah, I'm out on Dubs.
What did I miss then? Where am I? Was this like a snap share thing that I didn't see?
No, I just think that he's not earning targets.
Right.
He's not he's on the field. Like he got on the field, he's not earning targets. Mm-hmm. Jaden Reed looks good. Oh man, to me, Dubs is a sell, as a hard sell because when Watson comes back, he's the third.
Okay. So you think Reed is clearly jumped Dubs on the depth chart?
I don't know that he has done it yet. I think it is going to happen because he's the better player.
Yeah.
And he's got the better draft capital. And I just I don't really want much part of the Packers passing offense. I think the Saints defense is ridiculous. That's the other thing here.
Yes.
I think it's one of the best in the league. The only players I'm excited to play are Chris Olave and Michael Thomas. I don't think this is a Derek Carr week. But what I do think is this is a Taysom Hill week. If you have Taysom Hill at tight end, with the Saints running back mess, I think he could get 10 carries this week. This is the one time when he is like a predictable start.
Taysom Hill's a top 5 tight end this week.
I think that's really good.
I think he is too. Yeah, I don't have any of him, but yeah, I definitely.
I don't know if I have much of him. I have a decent exposure in best ball because you're looking for this kind of week.
Yeah. And that kind of player.
That's yes. Yeah. I actually have him in my one best ball dynasty and a lot of my best one. And I'm playing Kendry Miller in some spots when I'm real thin.
You playing Rashid Shaheed?
I'm not. I'm playing him in like one of our league we play in where it's deep roll lineups and kick return points.
There you go.
So in my kick return points leagues, Shaheed is a special case where there aren't many guys who are returning punts and kickoffs and are on the field in 3 wide receiver sets and receiving work, right? So he's a little iffy as a receiver only, but when you're getting all of that, he's, I think, a very safe play.
All right, we're trying to stay away from Derek Carr here if we can, against a pretty solid Packers defense and, again, the crummy weather. Juwan Johnson is out of my lineup until he does something. He's a guy I was interested in taking shots on, and he's been so quiet that I just don't want a piece. Yeah, anything else for this game?
Nope.
Moving on, Houston Texans divisional matchup at Jacksonville Jaguars. We got a 44.5 point over under here. So your easy starts, you got Jacksonville side, Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne, bang bang bang. They're in there.
Obvious starts are obvious.
Zay Jones, he's not going to play. Christian Kirk, I think you can start him with confidence here, especially after last week's performance, and I am doing that as an avid Christian Kirk owner. Evan Ingram is a quality tight end start. And then the only other guy on Jacksonville side is Tank Bigsby. What do you think about him?
So, in a super deep situation, right? Where you've got deep lineups or you've got a disaster on your hands, I think Tank Bigsby gets 10 touches in the fourth quarter of an uncompetitive game is one of the outcomes I can see here, right? So, he's a guy I wouldn't want to play, but I do think they're going to have a blowout somewhere along the line and decide to give him a lot of run to get his legs under him.
Yeah.
And this has the feeling of that game to me.
Totally could be. I totally second that. My personal projection for this is a different path, but that's a high probability outcome what you're talking about. I do think that's right on the table. I think as a divisional game with clear weather, you're gonna have about 88 degrees, no rain, and sub 10 mile an hour winds in Jacksonville. As a divisional game with clear weather and a Jaguars team that's clearly better, but not elite. I think Houston hangs out in this game. I think they stay in this game with Jayville. Both of these teams are not super impressive on defense. I think the scoring could get pretty high. I would take the over on the 44.5 points here. Texans side. CJ Stroud is playable as a QB2.
Yes.
Dameon Pierce, we talked about him. I don't want to keep going through that. The big thing are these Texans receivers. What are we doing with Robert Woods, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins?
Yeah, I'm playing Collins, Dell, and Woods in that order, but in a lot of spots. I feel very good about the volume on all three of these guys. This could be a game where both quarterbacks throw the ball. Where Lawrence throws the ball 35 times and Stroud throws the ball 42 times. And CJ Stroud, to me, looks like he does not throw the ball to his tight ends and his running backs a lot.
Yeah.
He looks at that wide receiver group that he's, that's what they did. That's what they do at Ohio State, right? They throw the ball to their wide receivers. And that's what it looks like he wants to do here.
You can confidently take Tank Dell out of your taxi and put him right into your starting lineup. I'm here to tell you that.
I agree. in all but the thinnest
Yeah,
leagues.
I mean, not in a too wide league or something, but if you're
Two
three
wide, two
wide, two
flex, maybe
flexes,
not.
start 10,
But
start 11, you can play Dell, and I have done that in a couple of leagues. I am doing it. Um,
yeah,
it's like that, like I was talking about with Rashad Bateman earlier. Just take the plunge here, because I think you're gonna like it.
yeah. If your wide receiver plus flex is 5 or more, I think Tank Dell is a start.
I agree. All right, we got another AFC matchup on the docket here. We got the Denver Broncos going in to Miami, 48-point over under. What's gonna happen here, sir?
So this is tied for the second highest over under. I have the under. I think I think man, I think my Broncos are going to get boat raced
I
here.
think
So
so
what
too.
I think
Yeah.
happens. The Broncos are 0-2 at home against worse teams. Their defense is pretty bad. So one of the things that was really weird, by the way, so the week 1 game, they lost 17-16. Both teams had 6 possessions in that game, which is unheard of small number of possessions. The game played at an incredibly slow pace. And both defenses were actually pretty bad, even though the score was 17-16.
Yeah.
And then last week, the Broncos just gave up a ton of points to Sam Howell and Brian Robinson and, at home. So Justin Simmons, their Pro Bowl safety, may miss the game. I think Tyreek and Tua might be like the winning stack of the week for your Millie Maker DFS type plays, right?
Totally. Yeah.
And I think Raheem Mostert, for as long as he's upright, is a great play every single week, and this week no difference. And if Jalen Waddle clears concussion protocol, you're playing him too. If you're in any kind of tight end premium or 2 tight end league, I think Durham Smythe is a no-brainer.
Love it. Yeah.
And if Jalen Waddle doesn't clear concussion protocol, I think Braxton Berrios is another name on that Craig Reynolds very deep list that you could stream and get 5 for 65 and a chance at a touch.
If Waddle doesn't play, I would say Barrios is even higher than that. If Waddle doesn't play, Barrios is probably a wide receiver 3. I mean, if Waddle doesn't play, I mean,
probably.
Yeah.
I don't think we. Yeah, probably.
If Waddle's got to miss, don't hear what I'm not saying. He's got to miss, but and I think Waddle will play. I expect Waddle to play personally.
Yeah, and then I think you probably just have to play Javonte, Judy, Russ as a quarterback too, and Sutton as a flex. I think you just have to play those guys. There's going to be some production in a. I do think it's going to be like 34-24. 34-21. Well, maybe with the Broncos getting a backdoor score there, but that's enough points that the key Broncos should be good. You're not playing P. Ryan. Marvin Mims, 2 for 133 or 113, I think it was, and a touchdown last week. Only ran 5 routes. You cannot play him.
Yeah. Don't wait to see on that.
Do you have a prediction here?
Yeah, I mean, you got weather. You got 10 to 15 mile an hour winds. That's nothing crazy. You got a little bit of rain. I'm thinking the under here because I think Denver might not be able to keep up. I'm sorry. That's just the truth of it.
I think we got it. I think it's going to be a disaster, man.
Yeah, I think it's going to be rough. I think it'll be rough for Denver. Yeah.
I think the whole year is going to be very bad.
Bright notes though. Russ is looking like he's running around a little more, so I like that. I mean, the 6 attempts for 56 yards. That's cool. There's some fantasy upside there. If I could sell Russ, though, I've tried to. I haven't had any hits, but I would definitely look to move on from Russ. But
you need to wait for that big game.
I think it just happened. I was trying to. I still couldn't do it. All right, keep it going. Oh, and I like Devon Achane as a. You could potentially play him because he's going to function as the RB2 on the week, as the Dolphins RB2 this week. And should that game script occur where Denver has a rough go of it, Achane, 40-yard touchdown run with 5 minutes to go in the game, could totally see that. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have the Los Angeles Chargers visiting the Minnesota Vikings with our highest over-under of the week at 54 points. Tony, in this game, obvious guys are obvious. We're playing Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. We are playing Mike Williams in this matchup.
Williams.
Yep, we're playing Cousins and Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson. You can comfortably play Alexander Madison for one more week until we have to worry about the Cam Akers situation.
As comfortably as he ever could, which wasn't super comfortable.
The odds of goal line carries in this thing
Very high.
are decently high. But I would rather play Josh Kelly. Eckler is out again. You are firing up your Josh Kelly. He got all the run last week. It did not happen. The Minnesota Vikings made DeAndre Swift look like an every down bell cow last week. Josh Kelly should get 65% of the running back run this week. You are playing Josh Kelly, and I feel pretty good about him again. Oh gosh, if the Josh Kelly manager in your dynasty league is looking for, it thinks this is one last chance to get out on Josh Kelly, I'll take that shot for like a fourth. Yeah. You know what I mean? If anybody's moving, maybe even a third. And then I think you can throw deep darts at KJ Osborne and Josh Palmer in a game that should just be a track meet.
Who do you like between them, Palmer or Osborne?
Osborne for me. Osborne's on the field all the time, man.
Yeah, and Palmer is not. Palmer's been doing crap. Palmer's nothing.
He scored a touchdown.
Yeah, but Palmer did.
But yeah,
Palmer didn't. Osborne might have.
No, Josh Palmer's got a touchdown on the season.
Oh, was it a kick return or something? Because it doesn't show up in his stats here.
Oh, you know what it was? It's called back on a penalty.
Yeah.
It was a great catch in the end zone.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't even see it, so my bad there. Tight end, do we care about Gerald Everett? I don't. I'm trying to bench him where I can. I'm playing the other guys, the Njokus and whatnots more. We talked about Laporta earlier. I don't mean to backtrack, but I'm playing Laporta as like a top 6 option moving forward. He's just locked in for moving forward. Sorry. Had to get that out there. Anything else on the Chargers-Vikings?
No, I think that's about it.
Yeah, 54 points. I'll take the over on it. It's in a dome, and I love Herbert. Let's go. But I probably just wouldn't bet it, if I'm being honest. New England Patriots at the New York Jets. This is my least favorite game this week, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. This is a 36.5 point over-under in the Patriots visiting the Jets. This is terrible. The only fantasy option in the entire game, as far as pass catchers, non-running backs go, Hunter Henry and Garrett Wilson, I would start those two. No other pass catchers. Don't like them.
So even the running backs, right? Like, I'm a little scared about Ramondre against a great defense who hasn't looked good. I'm a little scared about everything about the Jets backfield. Like, first of all, is there any room to run with people not fearing Zach Wilson?
Yep.
And then also, you have no idea what the usage is. The Brees thing was weird last week. For the 4 footballs. I don't know. I don't love Garrett Wilson. I think you can't get away from him.
You can't.
New England has a top 5 pass defense in this league, right? Like, they're going to have a good corner on him with bracket coverage and Zach Wilson and Alan Lazard to beat them.
I would rank Wilson outside the top 30 at wide receiver this week. But so if you have 3 or 4 guys above that, yeah, play them. But I don't.
It's hard.
It's hard to see sitting Wilson. I would play Brees if I had to as well. Again, another guy who's probably a little higher than that. I expect him to see a little more run, especially against New England. But it just his explosiveness, right?
I'm probably playing Ramondre everywhere I have him. I just don't feel good about.
I would play Ramondre and Brees everywhere and just feel bad.
Yeah, exactly. And I played Dalvin some places, but feel pretty bad about it. You don't really want much to do with any of the other parts of it. Devontae Parker played 100% of snaps and had 8 targets last week. Mm-hmm. But I think these Patriots volume pieces, I don't really want to play. Even Hunter Henry, I think his target percentage is low because they're number 1 or 2 in the league in pass attempts.
Yeah.
And he's gotten if he's getting 6 targets, 7 targets, it's like, well, great. But what if they throw half as many passes this week? You know what I mean?
It could just fall out. Yeah, But you have to take the shot.
3 target.
I Hunter Henry or Jake Ferguson.
Hunter Henry. Now we're in, but that might be the line.
Sorry. Yeah, that probably is the line. That's why I went there.
So I don't think he's a must start here. right? I'm scared of him. I like Hunter Henry. I think Hunter Henry and Mac Jones are both guys who are buys, and I didn't highlight them. In fact, Mac Jones was going to be my buy high, and I looked at this matchup and I was like, let's buy next week
Against Dallas? You want to buy against Dallas?
That's why let's buy in 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. New Orleans.
I like
That's
this.
fine. 3 weeks. Vegas.
I like this offense.
Yeah.
But no, even against I think the thing about this game is they may not throw the football.
Yeah.
It's not that, right? Like Mac Jones. It's not that I don't think he can play against good defenses. I actually think I might buy against those teams. The thing for him is this may be the slowest game of the week. That's my concern.
Yeah.
Right. To take the air out of the ball. Go ahead.
No, I know. I mean, that's hey, I don't got anything else to add. I'm sitting everything in this game that I can. It's hard to imagine places where I could sit Henry, but I'd play Laporta over him. But I think Henry's still a top 10 option because I think he will get the volume. I think I have to assume it till I'm wrong, and he's been getting it, so I don't know. I think you should play Henry. I think you should. That's it though. It's gonna be rainy. It's gonna be a lot of wind. Crummy divisional Patriots-Jets game with a 36-point over-under. I want the under on that. I haven't looked it up, but I'm curious what the line is that not a single offensive touchdown is scored in this game because I wonder what that is. We're gonna move on. The Buffalo Bills are in a cross-conference matchup against the Washington Commanders. Buffalo's going into Washington. 43-point over-under here. Let's start on Buffalo's side. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs are both in your lineup. James Cook almost certainly is as well. Do we like Dalton Kincaid, Gabe Davis?
I like this matchup. I want Kincaid. I like what I see out of Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
I think he is shaping up a bit like that post-type sleeper. Who might just have a good year. I want to play Brian Robinson for sure, and I'm probably playing McLaurin and Dotson in most of my leagues, based on the depth of the league. Only a thin league where I would probably not be. Howell is mediocre at a quarterback too, but there are a lot of guys we don't like this week, right? Like Derek Carr, I'd probably play Howell over those guys. But I think this could be close-ish and high-ish scoring, where the Bills end up winning comfortably, but it's competitive into the late third quarter, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like 34-26 or something.
Yeah. But not a backdoor 26. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Exactly. So, and I think that keeps all the players relevant. And it's not a track meet, but I think it's a good game for all the key pieces. I also think if you are desperate at running back, Latavius Murray and Damian Harris are splitting goal line work on a team that's going to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
And they seem to not want to give James Cook anything but obvious passing downs in the red zone. Mm-hmm. And they seem to definitely not want Josh Allen running over people at the goal line. So
they're getting away from that.
These are two guys who are obvious if I'm desperate at running back 2 because I've built 0 RB and my injury away guys haven't hit yet. These are guys you can go to in that situation. I have teams like that where those are the kinds of things. Like if you had Nick Chubb and you didn't win the waiver wire.
Yeah, it's just someone you throw out there who you hope can fall in the end zone and get 20 or 30 yards if they don't. Maybe catch a pass.
Bets to fall in the end zone. Yeah.
Sure.
And with Logan Thomas out, I would love to look at rostering either John Bates or Cole Turner if they're free. I like Cole Turner as the receiver more, although Bates seems to be the starter. I'm looking for whoever is free out there. If I can add them, maybe when somebody gets ruled out an hour before the game, and I can add one of these guys for free. It wouldn't shock me if one of these guys saw 7-8 targets. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And had a value spike. So it's the guy I want on my bench.
The big fantasy storyline for me here is with the Washington wide receivers. Neither of them have done very much. They're almost identical in terms of target share and routes and points scored. McLaurin has a touchdown. That's really the only thing that separates them. I think you can play them this week, though. I do. I am an avid owner of both of them, and I'm working them into my lineups for the most part. It's another leap of faith type deal, but you should be able to play those guys here, McLaurin and Dotson. And on the other side of that coin is because you should be able to play them. If they don't do very well, it's going to be really bad for their value moving forward, and you would see a big type of cratering effect. So if you see these guys do poorly, that sucks for them moving forward. Maybe try to get rid of them if you
I
can. I
consider
don't
that a
know.
buying window on Dotson, and
Yeah, maybe.
I'm already in a sell place with McLaurin.
Okay.
So that's how I'm at.
Yep.
Just because I think Dotson is a very good player and he's young, so I'm like less concerned about what this next 2 months is going to look like with him.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Right.
Yeah.
Whereas McLaurin is an older player, and you need to get value now. If he's not going to play well, what are we doing? All right. Panthers at Seahawks, over under 42. Bryce Young is out. This is a messy game. Obvious guys are limited here. Like just the way your roster's built, DK and Lockett, whether they're playing well or not, Lockett is, DK really isn't. They're both probably in your lineup, and so is Ken Walker. Everything else, I'm a little afraid of.
Everything else. There's not another startable option in the game outside of those three people. I mean, in Superflex,
you can start Geno.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina. Who's your favorite Carolina pass catcher of all of them with Andy Dalton?
I mean, it's Adam Thielen for
it's
raw
Thielen for
points.
Me. Yeah.
Although I think Hayden Hurst potentially has some positional value where like you may have to throw a dart at a garbage player there. I think those are the two guys I think Dalton will look at as Thielen and Hurst.
Yeah. Again, on the macro narrative level, Seattle's had a rough time, and Geno's had a rough go of it through 2 weeks. They're hosting a worse team that is a conference rival that has their backup quarterback out there. Seattle needs to beat this team badly, and I hope this is a get-right team for them. And again, this, like we're talking about those Washington receivers, if that doesn't happen, it's going to cause some big shifts in the associated players' values. So just a heads up on that. But you should be able to start those Seattle players. They should get right this week. I hope they will. But yeah.
Yeah, the get-right game is the phrase that came to my mind for sure. For sure. All right, Dallas Cowboys at Arizona Cardinals, over under 43. Obvious guys are obvious. This is CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, Dak Prescott, James Conner, and I'm just going to say it, we are playing Zach Ertz now.
Zach Ertz. Get him in there.
Until further notice. He is on this obvious guys are obvious category. Let's. What do you got? What do you think about the rest of this game?
I like Ferguson still. Keep going. I'd be fishing around for sell windows on Ferguson too because he's getting a lot of targets. I don't know how talented a player he actually is. I was in on him because the volume seemed there. The offense wants to incorporate him, but if there's a big hit for Ferguson moving forward, I'm going to be willing to sell him. But I like starting him here. I like Rico Dowdle in what is an extremely lopsided matchup. I would pretty comfortably put Rico Dowdle in a flex or RB2 spot. The whole second half should be his. I mean, this might be a situation where Pollard doesn't even wear shoulder pads come the fourth quarter. So. Yeah, on the Arizona side, I would be willing to start Hollywood, and I am. I'm starting Ertz. I'm starting Connor. Don't like any of the other options.
Yep. Okay. I'm mostly unwilling to, but potentially forced to start Hollywood. Don't like it.
Cooks and Gallup, I'm not playing either of them. Just because I just want to see something first from them.
Yeah. All right. Absolutely.
Bears are going into Kansas City. I love this. Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champs, hosting Chicago. I'm not sure which one of these games is more lopsided. That Cardinals game we just mentioned against the Cowboys or this one. But we have a 48-point over-under. I'm looking at the under on that because, I don't think Chicago's going to be able to keep up. You start Mahomes, you start Kelsey. You start Pacheco if he's out there. If Pacheco's not out there, you play CEH.
Confidently.
You don't play CEH if Pacheco is out there.
Right.
McKinnon's a low-end flex. He's like an RB3 flex, RB4 type. Pacheco misses. McKinnon jumps up to the RB2 range. That's what you're looking at.
I don't know, man. I have not liked his usage.
You think so?
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm very scared for him.
For Jerick McKinnon?
Yeah, I think. I feel like it might come back around, but he might be completely useless for 10 weeks here.
Could be.
How. What about on the other side?
It's going to be game script depending on a little bit McKinnon too. I just won't need him as well. I mean, I don't know. They should just roll over Chicago, and it should be a lot of Pacheco. I hope. Other side of this, you're playing Fields definitely. I would play Roshan. Roshan's my favorite running back out of here, and I'd be willing to start him as an RB2 type.
You're playing DJ Moore probably.
I'm sitting DJ Moore if I can. I'm
I
pretty scared for him.
mean,
But yeah, you probably
they're
have
gonna
to start
they're
him.
gonna scheme some stuff up. He's gonna get 5-6 catches.
DJ
You don't
Moore
have,
or Tank Dell.
probably.
Tank Dell.
No, probably take it out.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, so that's Moore's he's down there. He's in that probably outside the top 30 wide receivers for me.
Maybe, yeah, but like most of our leagues, like a top 40 wide receivers, mostly a weekly play. I think he's still in that group.
I'd probably would you play either Washington receiver over DJ Moore?
No, I'd probably play DJ Moore over those two guys.
I think I might go with the Commanders guys. I think I would
Okay.
either of them. That's probably right around where the line is.
I think they'll scheme up some manufactured touches for DJ Moore.
Yep.
Even if the offense is bad, he can be good.
Chiefs wide receivers, do we want any of them? Do we care about any of them? What's up with that?
So I don't really want. You said Roshan's the running back you want. I'd probably still play Herbert, but I don't want to play either of those guys. But you could, and I think Sky Moore is in that same category. You could. I don't love playing any of those guys. You look at your roster, you look at your options. You can do it, but like you just. Like buyer beware. You understand that like you could have a terrible day. You could have a 3.2 point game, out of any of those kinds of levels guys. Sky Moore is the only one I'm even looking at. I'm not looking at Tony. Kadarius Toney. I know he had 5 catches. I know they're scheming things up for him, but like
I'm sitting Tony. He didn't practice.
Snap shares nothing, and and then, the other side of that is MVS played 82% of snaps and had 11 receiving yards last week. You know what I mean? Like, so he's on the field all the time and not getting targets. I don't really play daily fantasy, but like Justin Watson is a guy I might look at daily fantasy. Honestly, that might be a thing I feel in this game.
He gets so many shots down the field. I mean, it's got to happen. Mecole Hardman was able to do it a few times. Like, this guy's got to do it. Yeah.
And I just want to say, of the guys you maybe were considering here, you can't play Cole Kmet. That is a guy you cannot play.
No.
Who you maybe thought you could.
No, there's at least 15 tight ends I'd play over Kmet. It's not.
Probably more.
Yeah.
Especially this is a Taysom Hill week,
Like Taysom Hill, oh yeah.
Like you're going back. You said you weren't playing Jawan Johnson. You're playing Jawan Johnson over Cole Kmet. You're playing. You know what I mean? Like yes.
The big one for me here.
I play Adam Troutman over Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I probably would too. Oh, yeah. So maybe there's like 25 tight ends I play over
Kmet.
Yeah.
Can't play Cole Kmet.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert's a guy off my bench. I'm not selling him, but I'm not starting him. He's pretty much a roster clog. It's a wait and see, hands free kind of approach with Khalil Herbert. I'm hoping they get their stuff together and realize how talented this guy is and give him the ball. But the team's so just scrambles right now that I don't know what's going to happen. They're broken. The whole offense is broken.
I think the organization is a little broken.
Sure. Yeah. All right. We have a tale as old as time matchup. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a classic AFC. Pittsburgh going across the country to LV. We got a 43-point over/under at Allegiant Stadium for the Raiders. On the Pittsburgh side of things, we're starting Pickens. I like Jalen Warren.
That's the only one I feel any good at.
I like Jalen Warren this week against this Raiders defense that gives up a lot of passes to the running back. I maybe like Jalen Warren ahead of Najee. I don't know. They're both right around there in that like low end RB2 territory.
Low end. I cannot get to Jalen Warren as an RB2 on his usage until I see something.
Yeah, maybe I'm too high on him. I don't know.
I love the talent. I think like we'll see something eventually, but I think you have to like put him in mothballs until you see it. That's my feeling. There's too much chance that just like he gives you such a goose.
I mean, he's an RB28 on the season now, and he's looked so good that I feel like he's going to keep earning more. So he is a low end RB2 right now. I mean, not exactly.
It's a high.
I had 3. All right, but this is a good matchup, so that's why I like him.
How do you feel about Muth? It's
Uh,
so bad.
if you drafted him to be your starting tight end, you have to start him. I like Kincaid more. I like Laporta more. Um, yeah, and youth around tight end, like 9 to 13 range, low end one from youth range.
Yeah, I kind of want to avoid as many Steelers as I can until I see something. And like I realize they have played two tremendous defenses,
Oh yeah,
and I don't want to judge too early. But like I'd like them to do something on the field before I see it. The only guy I feel really good about playing is George Pickens, and only because Deontay Johnson is out.
that's fair.
On the other side, you feel great playing Devontae Adams. And I think you should still feel very, very good playing Josh Jacobs. I actually think he's maybe a buy low right now.
Yeah.
Um, like the usage is all where it needs to be. Maybe he doesn't give you the efficiency of 2022, but if he gives you the efficiency of all the other years of his career, you're going to be very happy given his work rate. That's my feeling. And I think you're very comfortable with Jacoby Myers off the concussion protocol, given what you saw, and that's absolutely it.
Yeah, I'm not selling low on Jacobs, but I might be willing to let him go if I got the right opportunity. Jacoby Myers is going to play. Yeah, he is. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's in. So I think you can comfortably call him a wide receiver 3-ish. Yeah. Certainly a high 4 in your PPR leagues. That's a play. I don't want to play either of these quarterbacks, but if you had Pat Mahomes, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Kenny Pickett as your quarterbacks in a Superflex, who's playing and who's on the bench?
I'm playing Pickett because why? Why am I playing Pickett? Because he's at home. He's not even at home.
I'm playing Jimmy because he has Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that's probably smarter. I like Pickett more because he's facing less of a pass rush. Not that Max Crosby is easy, but the Pittsburgh front seven is intimidating, and it decimated the Browns last week. So that's on my mind. The last point I want to touch on this game is this Najee Harris narrative. I mean, his value is literally falling off a cliff. It's fallen to its death. It's insane. It's dropping like a rock. This is a make or break game. If he has a poor game against this porous Raiders defense, this is bad for Najee. I really need him to get right. Personally, I have a lot of shares of Najee. I want him to get better here, but this sucks if it doesn't happen. So,
is this buy low or don't try to catch the falling knife?
I'm staying away from it. If like the owner in my league is like putting him on the block, like I would shoot an offer, like that second third that you traded Sanders for, like I would send that maybe for Najee, maybe. Yeah, probably would, but that I could see that being an overpay 6 weeks from now. So it's
okay.
It's close.
All right, Eagles, Bucks. In Tampa, over-under is 46. That's a pretty good number. Obvious guys are obvious. You're playing Hurts. You're playing A.J. Brown. You're playing Devonta Smith. You're playing Dallas Goedert. Earlier, sell low, notwithstanding. He's still
you're playing Dallas Goedert.
Yeah. You're playing Mike Evans. You're playing Godwin. You're playing Rachaad White in the current running back landscape. He's a running back 2 with his volume, period. And you are playing DeAndre Swift after what he just did.
Oh, yeah.
I think you can also start Baker. I know you like Baker. And I think you can start Ken Gainwell if the reports are good. How do you feel about Gainwell?
I'm not starting him. I like Swift a lot more. I would just let. I'm not pushing Gainwell into my lineup. I don't like doing that on players coming off of injuries like this, and I'm more excited for Swift. So,
okay, I'm more excited for Swift too.
Yeah.
But if Gainwell is a full go, I expect him to get at least back to 40% of the touches, and that could be valuable in this offense. And just one last thing. In your tight end premium or 2 tight end leagues, Cade Otton, 6 for 41 last week.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield has always liked tight ends. Cade Otton is nothing special, but he, like in a paint by numbers kind of way, can volume it up for some decent productivity, I think.
Love it. Yeah, Cade is interesting. He might be on some of your more shallow league waiver wires potentially. I maybe not at this point, but I'd look that over. What do we got? 46-point over under. We got a little bit of rain, but mostly nice weather in Tampa. Again, Monday Night Football, 7:30 start. These players are going to be fired up, even in the inclement weather. I'm taking the over on 46 points, and I expect pretty good things from the majority of the players in this game. Everyone we mentioned. There's a long list of must starts, and I expect them all to eat.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let me give you one last tidbit for this game.
Yeah.
A thing I like to do. So sometimes you'll have a situation where you have to put a guy where a guy goes listed out, let's say for the Sunday night game, and you put him on IR, or for any of the games, and you have a waivers league, a waiver run league. So you can't get anybody on Sunday, right? But you can make a waiver claim overnight for Monday. Look at those backup quarterbacks for this game, right? Because both Marcus Mariota, because he's a running quarterback and this team, and Kyle Trask, to me, are pretty interesting backup quarterbacks. I will probably add both of those guys in some of my leagues and then cut them on Tuesday if both quarterbacks come out healthy.
Love that. That's excellent. That's an excellent take. Yeah, I mean, if Gainwell's ruled out and you have the opportunity to do that, or it could be any number of players, but yeah, Mariota and Trask, two dudes who either of them, if given the opportunity, could make some noise. I mean,
yeah, I'm usually looking at those Monday night backup quarterbacks.
Trask could be everything that Baker Mayfield is. I mean, he could be. Baker's a better player, but if he were to step in that role, he would have the same, most likely have the same success, most likely. One game left here. We got the second of the Monday Night Football doubleheader. We got the Los Angeles Rams at the Cincinnati Bengals, a Super Bowl rematch from a couple years ago. Joe Burrow, what's he doing? Is he playing?
I think he's playing.
I think he's playing. He's not missing Monday Night Football. He's Joey B.
Well, yeah, but hammies are hammies, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, first of all, if you are the Burrow manager, okay, you're probably going to be in a situation. Get him in your Superflex. So important. Do not have him in your quarterback spot. Have him in your Superflex spot, even if he's your quarterback one, so that if he is a late scratch, you can do something. Mm-hmm. Right? The other thing is try to add Jake Browning. A lot of times you'd rather pivot to your quarterback 3, but when your guy's on Monday night, sometimes you have to have that backup. Right?
Who is Jake Browning? What has he ever done? Do we care? Do we know anything about him? He doesn't look like he runs a lot. He looks more of like a chill thrower guy.
We surely don't care if we are the Burrow manager and we are just looking to insure ourselves. For Monday night.
That game,
for those purposes, we just care that he is the handcuff, right? So I think that is an important thing.
That is important, yes, sir.
If you are the Burrow manager, you either need to have Jake Browning or you need to have him in a super flex with another player from this game who is benched.
Yeah, you need a Tyler Boyd or an Irv Smith or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Or I don't know, someone from the Rams side. Ronnie Rivers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's anyway. Though you absolutely have that in mind beforehand. Okay, if Burrow plays, you're playing Burrow, you're playing Chase, you're playing Higgins, you're playing Mixon, you're playing Stafford, Puka, and Kyron. If Burrow does not play, are you playing Chase anyway?
I barely even want to entertain that because I really feel positively that he's going to play. But if Burrow does not play, I'm still playing Higgins and Chase just because they're two players that are so much on their. Yeah, I'm playing both of them still.
Still playing Mixon?
Oh, am I still playing Mixon?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. It's how do you sit him? I mean, you know what I mean? Because it'll be. You won't know till a few hours before kickoff.
I mean, if you got rumblings Sunday morning.
Yeah.
If you got rumbling Sunday morning that Burrow was trending out.
If he were ruled out at 11 a.m. Sunday morning.
Would you go away from Chase, Higgins, and Mixon? Not Chase.
No.
Stay on Chase. Stay on Higgins.
No.
Stay on Mixon.
You just leave them all in.
Stay on all in. Yeah. Okay. If Burrow is playing, if Burrow was ruled absolutely in Sunday morning, would you be interested in Tyler Boyd or Irv Smith?
Not Irv. Irv's been too lame. What's Irv? He's tight end 42 on the season. He's played a ton of snaps, so it's just been useless.
What's
that?
Targets have been okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching the games, and he doesn't seem to have any juice. There's nothing like this is a worse version of CJ Uzoma. I mean, it's not
Okay.
good. Um, Boyd, if Burrow is in for sure, like what is Boyd? He's like a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 type. That's the way I
Yeah.
would view him. Yeah, would you play
Yeah. Okay.
Boyd
Good.
or Adam Thielen?
With Andy Dalton playing, I'd probably
With
play.
Andy Dalton.
No, I'd probably play Thielen
Yeah,
still.
it's close.
Yeah.
It's close, isn't it?
But Boyd's in that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Are we playing Tutu Atwell? Are we planning to play Tutu Atwell no matter what? Tutu Atwell. Let's look at these numbers, man.
Show me. Yeah.
Tutu Atwell.
Yeah.
He has 17 targets, 13 catches.
It's been great. He's top 20 on the year. It's awesome.
He's the wide receiver 16 in PPR, 196 yard. What does he have? 196 yards through 2 games.
Yeah.
201 all-purpose yards, in fact, where he has a carry. Right. So with that carry, he's got 18 touches through 2 weeks for 201 combined yards through 2 weeks, and his snap share week 2 was 94%.
Tutu Atwell, yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of shares of him. I'd be willing to play him as wide receiver 3 type. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is Tutu Atwell or Hollywood Brown.
Tutu Atwell.
Yeah, so
not hard.
That's okay. So Tutu or Tutu or Jaden Reed. Would that be the next step up?
Tutu.
Yeah. Tutu Atwell or Amari Cooper. Yeah, Cooper's probably getting too far away. I don't know what the middle ground is there.
So we're into the category of people we're playing. He's playing over guys who are also playing.
Totally. Yeah.
So I think you're pretty much playing Tutu almost no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's about it. Higbee did have 7 targets last week. If you're in like deep tight end trouble or deep tight end formats, then I think that's where we're done, right?
I just want to leave one final thing here, and that's my displeasure with Van Jefferson, who I took as a waiver wire ad or a late round dart in like almost every single league. I think I had like 15 or 16 shares of this guy at one point. I really was just waiting for it to happen. He's got the size, the offense, everything is there. Cooper Kupp goes out. It's all about Van Jefferson leading up into the season. This guy's going to do something, and both of the other 2 dudes around him are making all the noise, and I have very minimal shares of each of them. And I have all of these Van Jeffersons that I just want to cut. So that's just been aggravating, and I want to complain about it.
He's played 83% snaps or more both the last 2 weeks.
This is useless. Yeah.
But it also makes it hard to cut him.
Exactly. Yeah. What do you do? What do you do, man?
What if Tutu has 2 catches for 3 yards this week, and Van Jefferson has 6 for 87 and a touchdown?
Roster
you know what I mean?
Clog.
Yeah, exactly. Can't play him, but yeah, exactly.
All right, who are your roster clogs? Let me know. Who's clogging up your roster? You can't
cut
them. You can't keep
guys.
Them. Let me know. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. Hope you found some of this actionable. Hope you found some move you can make or some start-sit decision that you were able to find some clarity on after having spent some time with us here today. Thank you so much. Your time is valuable, and we really appreciate you spending it with us. So take care. Good luck on Sunday. Have a good night, friends and family.